There was a time when Spain ruled a huge part of the world. The Spanish Empire had power over large areas of the Americas, parts of Europe, and even places in Asia and Africa. For centuries, Spain seemed like it could never be stopped. Its ships sailed across every ocean. Its armies defeated powerful enemies. Spanish kings were some of the richest and most feared rulers on earth. But one day, this mighty empire began to fall. How could such a strong empire lose everything? Today, we'll explore the rise and fall of the Spanish Empire. The story begins in 1492, a year that changed history. A sailor named Christopher Columbus set sail west across the Atlantic Ocean. He was hoping to find a quicker sea route to Asia. Instead, he found something totally unexpected: the Americas. Columbus had been supported by Queen Isabella and King Ferdinand of Spain. They believed in his journey, and when he found new lands, they quickly claimed them for Spain. Soon after Columbus's discovery, more Spanish explorers, called conquistadors, crossed the ocean to explore and conquer. These men weren't just looking for land, they were searching for gold, silver, and glory. In 1521, Hernán Cortés and a small group of soldiers reached the land of the Aztecs in what is now Mexico. With a mix of strategy, weapons, and local allies, Cortés defeated the powerful Aztec Empire. Just over a decade later, in 1532, another Spanish conquistador, Francisco Pizarro, set his sights on South America. He led a mission that ended with the fall of the Inca Empire in what is now Peru. The amount of gold and silver the Spanish took from these conquests was massive. Spanish ships carried treasure back to Europe by the ton. This wealth made Spain incredibly rich. It helped fund armies, build great cities, and support art, music, and culture. Spain had entered what many call its golden age. In the 1500s, it became the most powerful country in the world. During this time, Spain's navy, especially its famous fleet, the Spanish Armada, was one of the strongest at sea. Spanish influence spread around the globe. The country controlled large parts of North and South America, including modern-day Mexico, much of Central and South America, the Caribbean, and even the Philippines in Asia. Spain also held land in Europe and Africa. It had become a true global empire. But the bigger an empire gets, the harder it becomes to manage. Spain faced many problems, even during its golden years. Running such a large empire required a lot of money, soldiers, and strong leadership. Most of the gold and silver from the Americas was used to fight wars in Europe. Spain had many enemies, like England, France, and the Ottoman Empire. These constant wars drained Spain's money and weakened its armies. One major turning point came in 1588. Spain sent a huge fleet of warships, the Spanish Armada, to invade England. The goal was to remove Queen Elizabeth I from power and stop England from helping enemies of Spain. But the mission was a disaster. English ships, along with strong storms, destroyed much of the Armada. This defeat damaged Spain's image as an unbeatable power and gave England a chance to grow stronger at sea. As the 1600s began, Spain's problems continued to grow. More wars, more debt, and more rebellions began to hurt the empire. People in different regions of Spain, like Catalonia and Portugal, started to rise up. Portugal broke away and became independent in 1640. At the same time, France was rising as a major new power in Europe. Spain, which had once been the strongest, now found itself struggling to hold on. Then came the 1700s and 1800s, a time that would bring Spain's greatest losses. In its American colonies, the people had grown tired of Spanish rule. They wanted freedom. Inspired by revolutions in the United States and France, leaders in Latin America started movements for independence. From 1810 to 1830, one by one, countries like Mexico, Colombia, Venezuela, Chile, Peru, and Argentina fought and won their freedom. Spain's once mighty empire in the Americas was falling apart. Spain tried to stop these independence movements, but its military was too weak, and its government was too unstable. Leaders in Spain couldn't keep up with the changes happening around the world. By the middle of the 1800s, Spain had lost nearly all of its colonies in the Americas. All that remained were a few places, such as Cuba and the Philippines. But even those were growing restless. Then came the final blow. In the late 1800s, rebellion broke out in Cuba. The people there were fighting for independence from Spain. The conflict was long and bloody, with many civilians suffering in the war. In 1898, things took a turn when a U.S. warship, the USS Maine, exploded in Havana Harbor. The cause of the explosion was not clear, but the United States blamed Spain. Soon after, war broke out between the U.S. and Spain, a short but powerful conflict known as the Spanish-American War. The war was a disaster for Spain. In just a few months, U.S. forces defeated Spain in both Cuba and the Philippines. Spain's navy suffered another terrible defeat. In December 1898, Spain signed the Treaty of Paris, which forced it to give up control of Cuba, Puerto Rico, Guam, and the Philippines. These were Spain's last major colonies. Their loss marked the end of the Spanish Empire. After 1898, Spain was no longer a world power. A few small territories in Africa and the Pacific remained under its control, but they were not important. In time, even those final pieces were lost or sold. The great empire that had once ruled much of the world was completely gone. So what caused the fall of such a powerful empire? The answer isn't just one thing. It was many things that added up over time. Spain had grown too fast and too wide. It became difficult to manage such a large and faraway empire. Most of the treasure from the New World was spent on endless wars. The economy stayed weak, and Spain didn't modernize like other countries. It failed to build strong industries or keep up with changes in science and technology. Big defeats, like the loss of the Armada, showed that Spain was not as powerful as it once believed. And over time, rebellion and revolution broke the empire apart from the inside. The Spanish Empire is a story full of wonder and warning. It shows how a small European kingdom became the ruler of huge parts of the earth. Spain brought new ideas, languages, and religions to many lands, but it also brought conquest, suffering, and control. And in the end, it reminds us of something important. No empire lasts forever. Even the greatest powers can fall, sometimes quickly and sometimes slowly, over hundreds of years. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon.